What's up, fellow Crash Bandicoot fans? It's Austin CB here, and welcome back to another episode of Recent Pickups. So, we've hit the halfway mark of 2024, and since the start of the year, I've managed to pick up a variety of new things, so the collection continues to grow, and in this video I have quite a bit of things to showcase. I'm not going to include every single thing that I've picked up. I have a couple posters that I've excluded from the video, but otherwise I have a good chunk of things to showcase today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So before we jump into some of the crazier items, I wanted to start off with all the little trinkets and stuff that I picked up. So the first thing I have here is this Japanese Crash ruler that I picked up. Still sealed, not opened, of course. And basically you just got a variety of Crash renders on it. Very nice little ruler. And then the next item here is actually a custom item. So this is a custom Crash 1 display topper. It is an acrylic topper. And this just popped up on eBay one day. At first I thought it was an official display, but after going through the seller's shop I soon discovered it was a custom, but it's a really, really nice custom, and it looks very, very nice on display. And then next up, I picked up another Candy Stand card, so I have a few of these in my collection, and basically these here were released as promotional items to promote some of the games back on the old Crash and Spyro website back in the day. So Crash and Spyro Adventure World was the name of the game, and basically you got these cards and select products, and you can enter these codes in and play different minigames. But unfortunately now those minigames are lost to time as well as the website, so these cards are kind of useless now, but they are extremely collectible, and it's always nice to pick one up when I can. So moving along here, I have a few more Japanese Crash plushes that I want to show off here. So the first one I have is the promotional Nissan plush. So this plush was given out exclusively to people who test drove the latest model of the Nissan March Cabriolet model at the time, and this was exclusive to Japan, so you could only get this through that promotion. And it's a really, really nice little plush. Of course, you got Crash here in his seat with his seatbelt on, and you got the nice car as well. Very nice color. I do really like the color on this plush. And the next plush here, this is a Crash Team Racing promotional plush. So this is the miniature version of the kart plush. You can find a larger variant, and that version was released in the official Crash Bandicoot Collection plush line. So this is the small promotional version. I'm not sure how these were originally obtained, maybe through pre-orders. If anybody does know, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, of course, Crash can be removed from the cart, so you can display them separately, which is nice. And overall condition-wise, this one's actually in pretty good shape. It's very, very hard to find these plushes in near perfect condition anymore. His shoes have a little bit of flaking and peeling. His gloves are okay, and the cart itself is in really nice condition as well. So if we actually take Crash off, we can take a brief look at his tag here. So we have the Crash Team Racing Japanese logo, and then on the back here we have the Sony information as well as a not for sale stamp, which signifies that this is a promotional plush. And the final plush I have here, which is actually my most recent plush, is the Jumbo Namco Pilot Crash plush, and I absolutely love this plush. So now I am one plush away from being finished with the set, which is very exciting. But just looking at this plush, he's in pretty good shape. This plush does not pop up very often, and so his headgear's in good shape, his scarf's attached, his shoes have a little bit of peeling and flaking, nothing too bad. And probably the main drawback here is his hand has come undone from his face, so he's supposed to be saluting like this, but the glue has since come off, so I'll just have to reapply that when I get a chance to. But yeah, so those are all of my recent plushes. Very exciting plushes to get a hold of, so let's go ahead and move on. So Crash Bandicoot 4 has been out for almost 4 years now, which is pretty crazy for me to say. It still feels like this game just released, but with every new release, there's usually a new wave of merchandise that follows after, and Crash 4 did get a variety of merchandise, and I finally got my hands on some of the merchandise that I had been putting off for pretty much three to 4 years now. So overseas in Europe, Crash 4 saw a wave of stationary items released by a group called Pyramid International, which they specialize in making like a variety of merchandise, and they actually made some Crash 4 stationary items. So the first thing I have here is a novelty pen set, which has Crash and Cortex on the ends, and just a neat little design throughout. And of course, still sealed and everything like that. I've not opened these. Next up, I have one of the quote-unquote pencil cases. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, pencil case. And this one's kind of unique because it actually like slides in and out, which is kind of interesting. We have the zipper here, which has a rubberized Crash logo on it. And then of course we got Crash. If we lift up, we have Tawna and Coco. And then on the back side, it's just the same thing repeated. But if you open it, you can kind of see on the inside, it basically just extends. So you really don't necessarily have to use this for like pencils and stuff. You can use it for, I guess, whatever. Keeping up on the theme of pencil cases, we have another one here. And this is actually a variation of another one that I'm going to show here in a minute. This one here is a little bit larger, so as you can see we have Crash and Coco. And then on the back side we have Dingodile and Cortex. And I like the little artworks, the little emblems they have on this merchandise. And I also like the color of it too. I'm a big fan of blue, so anything blue I'm usually going to naturally gravitate towards that. So there's the other pencil case. And then third time's a charm here, we have yet another pencil case. So this one's pretty much identical to the one I just showed, except this one is actually denim. So it has a like coarse denim feel to it, and the emblems are actually embroidered. So the other one just had them stamped on. This one actually has them plastered on, which is kind of interesting. But other than that, the case is pretty much exactly the same, like same size and everything, just different material, and the emblems are a little bit different. And the next item I have here is a notebook. So this is a spiral notebook that was also released at the time, and nothing too crazy about it. I mean, the pages, you got some nice little artwork on the inside here, but the pages are all pretty much like identical. And I guess you get a little running Crash down there, which is kind of nice. And on the back side, same exact artwork. And then you can use this little strap here to fold back over it, which is kind of nice. So, yeah. And then the last Crash 4 item I have to showcase is this here. So this is advertised as an A4 wallet holder, I believe. A4 document wallet. So that's kind of interesting. So you can basically put like papers and stuff in this, really. So if we look at the front, we got that same emblem of Crash. We got Coco and then Tawna, as well as the logo. And on the back, we have a pirate logo, Dr. Cortex, and Dingodile. And it's got a very glossy finish, as you can tell the light reflects off of it. And the zipper here, can unzip it, of course, and take a gander inside. Nothing inside, of course. But yeah, so that's all the Crash 4 stuff that I picked up. Again, super nice to finally pick some of that stuff up. All this stuff here was released overseas. None of this stuff was released in the US as far as I'm aware of. So it was definitely a little bit harder to get a hold of this stuff just because of importing and, you know, all that stuff. But again, really glad I was able to pick some of that up. So keeping up with the trend of really obscure and weird Japanese Crash items, I have another one here to showcase. So this is actually a Crash Bandicoot sewing kit. So if we go ahead and take the lid off here, we can see the contents. So yeah, you get an entire sewing kit here, which is pretty insane. I'm not experienced with sewing, so I don't know what most of this stuff is. I mean, obviously we got scissors and stuff like that. We have a ruler that's down the center, but if we take this out and open it up, I'm trying to do this with one hand here. There we go. We have even more stuff. So in here is actually where we have all of the needles. So there's a bunch of stuff in this kit, which I knew this kit existed, but I honestly didn't know just how much stuff was in it at the time, but now that I actually have it in hand, it's actually pretty insane to look at. I think it is technically incomplete because there is a slot up here in the corner that is missing some stuff, but otherwise I think it has everything else. We have the scissors as well as your extra tools, and I love how everything just fits in perfectly. Like, there's a slot perfectly spaced for everything, which is pretty nice. And I also like the artwork that you see on the crash parts. So it's got that like blue shattered glass look, which we've seen on some of the merchandise before. But yeah, just really obscure. I love picking up weird crash items like this. So moving on here, I have a few more Japanese items I want to showcase. The first item I have here is this Crash-themed candy tube. And on the top here, you have this little dancing Crash figurine. So it has a little tab on the back. If you press it, he actually dances, which I guess you could call it dancing, but he kind of just flails around back and forth. Still a really, really nice figure. And then moving down here, here is the sticker that is applied. And then here's the candy. So the candy is long past its expiration date. I believe these were actually released back in 2000, so this is 24-year-old candy here, if anybody's interested. Other than that, it is still sealed. Don't have any plans to open it. This was a nice little bonus I got with another item that I'll be showcasing here in a little bit. So yeah, very, very nice. Then the next item I have here is a promotional Wrath of Cortex mug. So we have Crash here, then we have Coco on the back, and then we also have some information here. So the Konami logo, Universal, KonamiStyle.com, some Wumpa Fruit, you know, all the little info. Other than that, it's a pretty standard cup, but a pretty hard to find promotional item. And then the last item I have here is a pretty obscure item, actually. This is the first one I've come across. This is a little pull string bag that was released back in 2002, so this was most likely released to promote Crash Entranced. And it actually is double-sided, so there is some more designs on the back here. Pretty nice little bag. And yeah, so those are the smaller Japanese trinkets that I managed to pick up, so let's go ahead and move on. So we have two more items to showcase before we wrap up the episode. The first item I have here is a pretty obscure Crash Bash lunch bag. And this was made to promote Crash Bash at the time. As you can see, it's got the game's logo stamped to the front of the bag. You also got a little pocket in here for storage. And then if we open the bag, I'll kind of show you what the inside looks like here. So there you go. And other than that, it's just pretty much a regular lunch bag. I mean, you got the Crash Bash logo on it, so you can rep that. I actually got this for a pretty good deal, considering how obscure it was. I think I picked this up for like 25 bucks or so. So yeah, very, very cheap. And so the final item of the video, I have this play-by-play Crash plush, and this isn't just any regular play-by-play Crash plush. This is the European exclusive version. So you might be wondering, okay, what's the difference? Well, if you've got a keen eye, you might be able to tell right away. His fur is actually very puffy. I like to call this the fuzzy Crash plush, just because he's so fuzzy. If you compare him to like the normal play-by-play plushes, you can tell a pretty big difference. Obviously, the normal ones aren't like puffed out like this, and the colors on this one are actually a lot better. You might be able to tell with the lighting, but the orange is so much more brighter and vibrant. His mohawk is a little bit brighter, and I love the fuzzy eyebrows and the fuzzy nose. It's just a nice little touch. Unfortunately, mine didn't have the tag included. I think they actually cut the tag off, which is kind of unfortunate. But I've seen a few of these plushes. They are pretty uncommon. Not impossible to find, but uncommon. But yeah, very awesome little plush. And so that concludes yet another episode of Recent Pickups. You know, 2024 has been full of surprises so far, so I'm very excited to see what the rest of the year has to bring. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, comment your thoughts down below, and feel free to subscribe for more future content. I've been It's Austin CB, and thank you so much for watching.